All right. That was fractions to percents. Now we gotta go from percents to fractions. So just like to go from a fraction to a percent, we had to go to a decimal first to a percent. Now we're gonna go from a percent to a decimal to get it into a fraction. So first, 45%. 45%. Percent means what? Out of 100. Percent means out of 100. So 45% means 45 out of 100. Boom. Mic drop. Whoa. 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 Not too hard there, right? Not too hard there. Now we've got 20%. You do that one on your own. 20%. 20% means 20 out of 100. Boom. What should we probably do with those fractions? Simplify. Always simplify when you can. On your test, they're never going to give you a problem where they didn't simplify. They're always going to have the simplified answer. So back up to 45 over 100. Right off the bat, what number do I know goes into both? 5, because they end in a 5 and a 0. Divide them by 5. Divide them by 5. 45 divided by 5. How many times does 5 go to 45? 9. 9. Again, if you don't know that, count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. 9. Hard to show that. 9. And 100 divided by 5. 5 doesn't go into 1. 5 into 10. Twice. 5 into 0. 0 times. So 100 divided by 5 is 20. Josh lit a candle. It's kind of smoky. He had to trim the wick. We're good now. So this is 9 over 20. It seems easy, but we've got to make sure we simplify. 20 over 100. They both end in a 0. I divide by 10. Those zeros go away. If I divide by 10, divide by 10. That gives me 2 over 10. But I can simplify more. I can divide by what? 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 1/5. Next one. 15.5% means that I have 15.5 things shaded in out of 100. That decimal's a little gross. That fraction doesn't work out. We don't like seeing fractions or decimals in fractions. You can, but that's not an answer that you're going to see in a textbook. They don't do that. We don't do that. So now is when we really have to go from that percent to the decimal. We need to go from that percent to the decimal first. How do I go from a percent to a decimal? Anybody remember? Beyonce! Thanks, girl. We go to the left, put in our decimal. So now we have 0.155. Now from our decimal, we can go into a fraction. Now we can go into a fraction. Do you remember how to go from a decimal to a fraction? Remember these notes? We just go through, look at the number, the place value, put it together. What's that number without the decimal? 155. What's our place value? Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So I have 155 over 1,000. And we have to simplify that. Let's do it. We're doing it together. What number do we know is automatically going to go into both? It ends in a 5 and a 0, so a 5 can go in. How many times is 5 going to 15? 3. 5 into 5 once. So we get 31. What's 1,000 divided by 5? I can go about it that way. Or if I have 5 cookies and each chip represents 100, I can go 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. Again, each chocolate chip represents how many? 100. So 100, 200. 1,000 divided by 5 is 200. That only works when you're not going to have decimals. Sorry, guys. So here we simplify to 31 over 200. That looks absolutely nothing like what I started with, but sometimes that's what we have to do. The last one's a word problem. It says Regina got 75% on her test. If there were 20 questions, how many did she get correct? 75% means what? 75% means 75 out of 100. Remember with these fractions, the top part, that's the part, and the bottom part is the whole. So if there's 20 questions on the test, is 20 going to be the part or is 20 going to be the whole? We need to get so that the whole is 20. The bottom number, our denominator, is 20. So we need to figure out how to get the top number. A few different ways you can do this. One way, how do I go from 10 to 20? I divide by what? I divide by 5. So then 75 divided by 5 would be 15. So that means that she got 15 correct out of 20 questions on that test. Another way you could do it, you could set up your 75 over 100. You don't know out of 20, and then cross multiply that way. 75 times 20 is what? 1,500. 1,500 divided by 100 gives us 15. Either way works. She got 15 correct. I know I went through those ones kind of fast. But again, biggest thing, if they're nice and neat and pretty, you can just put it over 100 and simplify. If they're not, you might have to go to the decimal first and then simplify your fraction. There's some practice problems for you. Come and check in with us after you have done 10 questions on that link. Check in with your teacher after 10 questions.